Let there be light. We finally got the lights replaced in this hangar. We went with all LEDs in here, and they're fantastic. Really nice and bright in here. But yep, hey, it's Saturday, April 12th. And just a quick catch up on a couple things. Haven't got really much flying done on this. We've had 3 flights. Still working on the oil temperature, not working on it, still having some elevated oil temperature on this, and did some talking with Ruben. Thank you, Ruben, for chatting with me and messaging back and forth. But we think that's just, we're kind of part of still going through break-in on the engine, so we're going to be seeing some elevated oil temperatures on that until that settles in. Starting to see the CHTs have settled down a little bit. Oil consumption is it's using a little bit of oil, which that's what it's supposed to do during break-in. So everything, it kind of appears to be okay there. I think the baffling fixes that we did helped out quite a bit. And we still might look at that a little more, don't know. But it seems to be okay. So we're going to continue on with that. The biggest obstacle so far has just been the weather. It's springtime here in Montana, and that means that we've got a lot of wind. It seems like when the weather is nice, we've got pretty windy days, and the predominant or the prevailing wind here has changed, I think, over the years. We get a lot more wind, a lot more crosswind on here, even on both the runways, the quote-unquote crosswind runway and the regular normal runway. It's even a crosswind on those, so we've kind of been battling with that. But I think weather's going to be getting better here pretty soon. I'll be able to get out and get some more flying done, get this engine broken, and start in on phase 1 flight testing. But big news is we've got a service bulletin. Started seeing some talk about this a couple months ago. Steve Cox over at Clear Direct had some issues with some of the hub bolts breaking, shearing off. So he was working through that, and also started seeing reports of the prop hub itself developing a crack on the corners. And so since then, we now have a service bulletin. We're going to talk about Whirlwind Service Bulletin. This is an alert service bulletin, 61-001 for hub inspection. And even though we've only got 4 hours on the airplane, this service bulletin directs us to do a full inspection prior to further flight. So we're going to do an inspection. We also have to take the gel coat off of the spinner back plate. They want that. Well, initially they said there's not supposed to be any paint on the back side of the spinner plate, which that's how we are when we sanded that down smooth before we installed it. And now they're saying even on the front side of the spinner plate where the gel coat is, they don't want that on there either. So we're going to sand that down and get that smoothed out. And there's a whole procedure in this service bulletin. I'll talk about it as we go. But yeah, here we go. One of the concerns on this, and we've seen in other reports of this prop hub issue, is that there's no gap here. So these hub halves are touching on the corners, and that's causing cracks to form in here. And I just measured ours, and we are 0.006 of an inch on the leading edge side of this hub, on the leading edge of the prop side. The back side is touching. I can't even get a 1,000th inch feeler in there. And on this side of the prop of the hub, it's 0.004 down here on the leading edge, and it's 0 on the trailing edge. Can't get a feeler gauge in there, a 1,000th feeler gauge in there. So I'm guessing that's probably going to end up being a problem at some point along the way. So let's talk about the service bulletin. So here's WW-ASB-61-001 service bulletin hub inspection on this propeller. If I can get the pages. Yeah. Okay.
I'll be your flipper.
Yeah, I was just going to go back. So they list the reason is that they have received reports of cracking around the bolt holes in the hubs on the affected propellers. They've received reports of broken clamping bolts on the props and reports of torque loss on the aft mounting bolts. And those aft mounting bolts are, you can't see those from when the propeller's installed. They are behind that hub in the center. So there's 2 bolts in there that we have to check on that. So we've got descriptions, we've got a compliance section here. We're going to have, we're going to have recurring inspections every 25 flight hours or every 6 months, whichever occurs first. Go ahead.
You have to go beep.
Beep.
Like old slideshows.
Yes. Every, they call these torque up events, is every time that basically I would say every time that the bolt is torqued or checked for torque, they're calling that a torque up event. So every 8 events? Where does it say? Oh yeah, there we go. Every 8 events where there's a torque event on those mounting bolts, we have to replace the Nordlock washers. Those come in pairs and we already have those. To replace those, every 200 flight hours or every 24 months, whichever occurs first, we have to replace the hub mounting hardware, which is the bolts, on the hub. And in my correspondence with Hartzell, that's who bought Whirlwind propellers, I've corresponded with them. And I asked where I can source this hardware, and they said they currently don't have a source for the hardware. They are working on hardware kits, getting those assembled together with bolts to presumably sell to us users at, I think I saw something like $38 a set, I think is what those are probably going to cost, plus shipping, but don't quote me on that. So now we've got the recurring inspections that need to happen and the hardware replacement requirements. And so let's go to the next page. And this is where it talks about the forward mount bolts and the aft mount bolts. These are the ones that are back behind the hub. So we have to take all this apart. We have to check these. We're going to replace these washers. And we're going to do a washer replacement here. And we're going to see if we can get this clamped down to where we actually have maybe a 1,000th gap or more, hopefully, on each side of that hub. That's going to be the biggest challenge. The other thing we have to do is remove the gel coat off the spinner, and this is where we have to check for cracks. All these shaded areas in here, that's where all check for cracks and any marring or anything on those surfaces. And then the hub inspection, go ahead and let's see, I always say spinner black paint. So here's what we have to do. We have to sand off all the gel coat on that back plate. We're gonna mark a line around there, then we go a 1/2 inch out from that line on that backing plate, and then we will take all that gel coat off. We'll wet sand that down to the carbon fiber, and then put it all back together. I think that was it. Was that it? Was there anything else? Washer replacement, to talk about that. Hardware replacement, yeah, and that's it.
Intentional blank page.
Yes, so we'll get started on this. We're going to pull the prop and yeah, get going on it. Got the hub marked out here, I should say the back plate marked where the hub sits against it. So we'll go a 1/2 inch out on here, we'll make a line, and then we'll take this white gel coat off of here. I did put hub line, we have a line on here so that we always have this in the same position every time when we put it on here. The other thing I did was put this yellow tape on here and then did some alignment lines, some alignment marks on here, so that when we put the prop back on, we're going to be pretty dang close to where that is sitting right now, 19.6 degrees of pitch on this prop. And I've talked about it before, this is a 72-inch whirlwind prop. This is not the 76 or 80-inch Stoll prop, but the service bulletin is applicable to all GA200L hubs, no matter what you have. Got the hub inspected here, and I wasn't expecting to find anything too shocking on this since we were such low time on it right now. But like I said before, the service bulletin requires it to be inspected before further flight, and yep, we're going to make sure we do that. So yeah, got this done here. There was a few spots I noticed that there's like this dark stuff, and I don't know if that's fretting on there, maybe is. But I've got pictures of all this stuff. I will send that over to Hartzell and have them make a determination on that, if that's just normal. And I don't recall if that was on there when we installed this hub. I can probably go back and find some pictures of this. I'm sure I've got a picture of this either on a video or on my build log before we put the two halves together. So we'll check that out. Got our line marked out, drawn on here. Kind of there's a little hump you got to do out on that side there. Drew the wrong one there, so redid that. So I got that marked on this side. And also, we had previously sanded this here, but I only sanded right out to the edge of the prop hub, or the prop extension. And the instructions on the service bulletin is we buffer this out by a 1/2 inch. So just kind of drew a line around there, 1/2 inch outside of that, and we'll sand all this down. And got to sand all this white stuff off. This is called the gel coat, so we'll sand the gel coat off of there and then get it down smooth down to the carbon fiber. All right, well, we're done for today, and did a little more sanding and work on that back plate, but we couldn't quite get all the way finished. We've got some pretty heavy weather. It looks like it's coming our way, so we're just kind of wrapping things up here real quick like. Gonna run home and get the car in the garage. Hopefully we won't get any hail or anything like that, but yeah, so we'll pick this up again maybe tomorrow, and hopefully get this service bulletin finished out, and we'll go from there. So hey everybody, thanks for watching the video. Have a great evening, and that is it for now.